doing everything right. The baskets are labeled, the meals are planned, the throw pillows are perfectly fluffed, but inside, you are exhausted. You're yelling more than you want to, and you're snapping over all the little things, and you find yourself starting to wonder, is all this effort even working? I know what it's like to chase that picture-perfect home and to end up resenting the people that you're doing it for. But what if the home that God is noticing isn't the one where everything looks perfect, but it's actually the one where love gets the final say? Several years ago, I truly believed that peace would come once everything was just right. I had this unspoken goal of just creating the perfect environment. Clean, calm, beautiful. That's what would facilitate peace and happiness in our home. And I thought that if I could just control all the little details, I would finally feel like a good mom. The kind of mom that the kids would remember with admiration, and the kind of mom that other people would notice and say, wow, how does she do it all? She's amazing. So I did what many of us do. I organized, I scrubbed, I styled, I even color-coded my kids' bathroom stuff. I felt like if my home was in order, my motherhood would be in order too. But instead of peace, I found so much pressure. I was tense, I was short-tempered, I was constantly irritated by crumbs, by toys, by noise, and my kids were literally walking on eggshells, and honestly, I was too. And underneath it all, I was starting to resent the very people that I loved the most. So let's take a look at two different homes. Both of them belong to moms who love deeply, but their energy, their atmosphere, they are completely different. So in the first home, everything is curated. The entryway smells like lemon. The beds are made beautifully. The playroom is labeled and quiet and very inviting. From the outside, it looks very peaceful. But if you really zoom in, if you were a fly on the wall, you would see a mom who is white-knuckling it. She is so frustrated that no one is helping her. She's snapping when anyone spills milk, right? Her face is saying everything is fine, but her energy clearly is saying, please do not mess anything up. She's working so hard to keep her home under control, but the tone she is setting is not peace, it's pressure. Now let's walk into this second home. It's lived in. There's laundry on the couch, some dishes on the drying rack. The toddler is halfway dressed, so that counts. Someone's crying, someone's laughing, but the mom, she's not frantic. She's not yelling. She's holding space for all of that to take place. She's modeling grace. And the difference isn't what she's getting done that day, but it's how she's thinking about what matters. Now, let me be really clear before I say anything else. I am not saying that if you have a clean, organized home, you're doing it wrong. I love a tidy space. I absolutely function best when there are systems and order, and I know many of you do too. What I am saying is this: if that order comes at the price of connection and love, it might be time to choose a different approach, because a home can be both peaceful and imperfect. It can be beautiful without being rigid, and it can definitely be well kept without making everyone inside it feel like they are so tense and ready to get in trouble for something. Our goal isn't to create a showroom, it's just to create a place where people feel safe to be human, where our kids learn that love is not earned by their performance, by how clean and quiet they are, but it's received very freely, even with dirty socks on the floor. So I still remember a day when I had a meltdown over some fingerprints. I had spent a very long day. I was cleaning inside the kitchen while the kids were outside playing, and the next thing I know, this beautiful sliding glass door that I had cleaned was covered with fingerprints. And not only that, as I was opening it, I was noticing it's actually also sticky on the handle, which in my opinion is one of the worst things. Open a door and you're left with some stickiness. So that was proof that a child was just using it, clearly. And then, of course, I noticed the dry grass on the ground where I had just vacuumed and mopped. There were some shoes scattered on the floor, just evidence that the kids clearly had now come inside and had brought their mess with them. Everything had looked amazing. And now this, right? I just lost it. Tears, frustration, that awful voice in my head saying, you'll never keep up. Why do you even bother, right? It clearly wasn't about the fingerprints. It was about feeling like I was failing at the one thing that I was really supposed to be good at, which was keeping up with the house. And that's when I realized I had built a vision of motherhood that looked good, but didn't feel good. And if it didn't feel good to me, it probably didn't feel great to my kids either. So what changed? It started with one very small thought. What if peace isn't something that I find once everything is perfect? What if peace is something that I can choose even in the middle of the mess? And that one thought started unraveling this pressure that I had wrapped so tightly around my motherhood. Instead of asking, how can I make this perfect? I started asking, what would love look like here? Would love yell about the crumbs on the counter? Would love demand silence during my dinner prep? Would love lose it over fingerprints on my glass door? No. Love would definitely set boundaries, okay? Let's be clear. But those boundaries would be coming from a place of love instead of control and resentment. And that love would invite connection instead of pushing it away. Love would breathe and pause and see people instead of just problems. So if you've been living under this pressure to keep everything in your home spotless and aesthetic and just under control, I want you to hear this. That is not what heaven is watching. Heaven isn't tracking your laundry loads. Heaven is not impressed by Pinterest boards. Heaven sees quiet sacrifices, day in and day out. The smiles you offer when you're tired, the moment that you choose grace over criticism, the moment when you are fishing a Lego out of the garbage disposal, which I actually just did yesterday. All the times that you are choosing to get down on your toddler's level and really look into their face and talk to them instead of just yelling across the room. The scriptures say, ye will teach them to walk in the ways of truth and soberness. Ye will teach them to love one another and to serve one another. That's the goal with our children. Not perfection, not to have the picture perfect house, but a home where love is taught, not just in words, but in the tone of our motherhood and how we go about our days. So here's what this looks like for me right now. I still like a tidy home, but I don't sacrifice connection for the sake of control. I still like a plan. I still make those plans, but I leave margin for mess, for moods, for real life to kind of get in the way of that plan a little bit. And I still care very deeply about my family's experience. I want them to have a calm, peaceful home. But now I focus more on how things feel rather than how things look. Now, some days I do the extra things because I want to. I still will clean that glass door, of course. I still will go the extra mile and, I don't know, scrub something extra, right? But I'm doing it from a very different place. And I'm doing it because I want to, not because I feel like I have to, and I don't feel that pressure. And then there's other days where I'll pull out a frozen meal or just light a candle and call it good. And both of those, the productive day and the kind of more take it easy day, heaven notices those equally. Because now my home is actually built on something more lasting than clean floors, which, hello, how long do they even stay clean, right? It's not even a sustainable goal because our house is lived in and we need to accept that. It's gonna be built on peace and love, and it's just the opportunity to be serving and teaching and showing up again and again and again. If you are tired of performing motherhood and are just so ready to live motherhood with a lot more peace, I just want to invite you to download my free ebook. It's called You Were Made for This. It's for Christian moms who are ready to stop chasing the world's standards and start living from the quiet confidence that God has already given them for the work that He called them to do. You don't have to earn your worth. You don't have to get all the things done on your list. You don't have to control everything. You just have to keep showing up for your family with love, because that is the kind of home that heaven notices. And if that whole talk of snapping at your kids rung a bell, be sure to check out this next video that will really help you get out of that once and for all. You are wonderful, and I'll see you soon.